the hell is this? Sorry, that's not what I was trying to look at. That's what we're going to look at here. Time crystals, Space-Time Journal Club. So, time crystals, I've been looking at quite a few of these different examples, but I'm pretty sure I can show you an example of time crystals. Hold on. Okay, now we're back. So look at these. I often wonder what is it that I'm catching a reflection of. I'm pretty sure that some of these are time crystals besides my light body friends. And then some. So let's just do a quick little gander through here and let's see what this guy describes some stuff as. And so crystals are piezoelectric. They reflect that rainbow. So as you can see here, I can't quite wow, look at that one. Can't quite describe what it is I'm looking at, but I'm also believing it also to fall in the range of plasma, plasma-like type emissions, is what I'm seeing here in some cases. And then see, look up top here though. So that little, the silver part there underneath the little rainbow thingy, that's what plasma, I don't want to say plasma field, but is it a plasma? It's like taking the electromagnetism, combining it with perhaps something to do with the sun, and then some. Sorry, I'm a little sidetracked here. But here, look at that one. That one looks interesting. And you can look up the Thunderbolts project too. Oh, there's a good one. There's a good one. So that looks like a plasma field emitter. I can't tell you what the rainbow thing is, but I don't know. Or perhaps this is a glimpse of those 7 planets that are up there. Because and then when you look at, well, what did they describe as these new 7 planets discovered as? And then you look at them and they show them almost in the range of colors of the whole rainbow. And again, these are my photos taken by me with my different type of homemade scopes and such. Different types of lenses that I use, convex and concave types of lenses to get this effect. Also, different apertures combined with apparatize with specially designed holes, I guess I could say. And then sometimes, and so I also look at the idea of, so say, well, even though we have a blue sky, we can't see the stars and what not that are up there, but perhaps, I don't know, perhaps I can, I don't know. But, so if you see, like, here's an interesting effect that I get. And then these almost like seem to grow sometimes. And then if you wanted to take out some spectroscopy like type shit, I would supposedly be able to help identify these certain things by the the colors here. So we got a yellow, a pinky, and again, I think this is just like a Fresnel lens like type shield like thing. Or I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what it is I'm looking at, but I know that. Oh, that's interesting. I know that just me directly looking up at the sun. And also when Venus comes down and around at nighttime, it looks like one of these as well. But right now, I can't really see Venus. And then look at here. And so I feel like sometimes when I get this angling just right, and then I have my things bent a little, I get this. Very beautiful. I love when I have these days. And then if you look up here too, that still looks like there's like a circular like thing. Or if this is any indication of perhaps yeah, just going again with the time crystals. And I also have photos where these things are lined up. I have some photos where literally, say there's like 3 totally aligned sections. One section was spheres, one section was octagons, and the other one was like the octagons, pentagons, and circular. I haven't been able to find it on my hard drive quite yet. And so here you can see like there's nothing here, but yet if you zoomed in, it's like you almost can kind of see something coming up at the top here. And then when I get everything just right, and that's, I'm cutting the glare of the sun with the circle things where I can't describe it. And then up here you can start to see the rainbowy things start. Or something. Plasma field emitters, I think that's what it's called. And then here, we get some other crazy crap going on here. And then I don't know if you wanted to look at any of these like things. So say if you took that sphere and then that little dimple right there in the middle, what if that's a planet going in front of something? You know, like that sort of, like that right there. Like, I don't know, what if one of these little rainbow things is that, and then that circle in the other rainbow tiger sun, I like to call it, maybe that's its shadow. So that's what, and so when you look at the Thunderbolts project, this same, like, type structure thingy is captured by them, as well as this. Now, what if this is also, perhaps... Ooh, look at that. It's like a triangle. And I'm pretty sure... Ooh, that could look like that weird tripod thingy. I see this thing that always looks like these Goombas. That's what I call them. And it's always right there, and it's in that shape. It reminds me of, like, 3 spheres on top of each other. But not really on top of each other because there's, like, one behind it. And here... It's pretty interesting here. This... little line here reminds me of like some things like, it sometimes even looks like something's like interacting with the sun, but that just sounds crazy, you know. But here, I don't know if it's just the rays or what, but see how it kind of looks like it's coming out from somewhere, and whatever that bright spot is that I can't see. Purr. And then I usually don't get this sort of rainbow array. I honestly, that's like the most I've ever seen it spread out like that in that retrospect. And then I just wanted to tape to see what this guy talks about time crystals. But look at these. Isn't it fucking beautiful? Don't ask me how I get that, but it's like literally, it's like maybe if there's such thing as a sun simulator or a shield, or perhaps there's all kinds of these like arrays of like, I guess I like to call them filters. And I had this idea of like, well, what if, okay, so what if there's all this power from the sun, but what if you put a filter in front of it so when the sun's rays go through it, it's going to spit out those type of particles. Like, you know, so, because sometimes you get the ones that, like this blue one here, sometimes you get a green one that looks like fucking shit out of a slide, excuse my language, and then other times, so this is a good one here. So it's almost like, so what if... and then when I'm done this video, I'll show you this picture that's on my computer desktop. So what if, I don't know, sometimes I feel like, well, what if this is the field that's around our Earth? And perhaps, oh, here we go. Here, it's like another, oh, see, look at that one right there. Like, oh, I don't know how I got that one versus all these other ones. But sometimes I literally feel like I don't know what it is I'm looking at. But I'll go ahead and let it sound as crazy as possible. But I feel like I'm looking at the edge of the fucking stratosphere or something. And if the sun really isn't 93 million miles away, perhaps I've come across this other... oh, look. Perhaps I've come across this... a little triangle. Perhaps I've come across this... I came across this number of something like 8.5 miles up. So, and then I've come across with the idea, or came across hearing that perhaps the the moon or some shit's only like perhaps 3 miles up or away from us. Again, I can't quite, excuse me, recall where I'm coming up with these numbers. I don't know if it was people who were doing like flat Earth experiments and then doing all the math to be like, yeah, if for the moon to be at this angle, or even taking the sun at these certain angles, and doing all the measurements out, it would prove that it's something like, I don't know, 3 miles up or something. But most recently I came across with the number of 8.5 miles up or something. So I don't know. And would you be able to see 8.5 miles up with, I don't know, 900 times magnifying zoom? And so sometimes I see like I feel like right there in that middle, you see how it's like, when you think of how focal points focus, it's like right at that spot where those things meet. So I don't know if that's like proof that, okay, whatever I am looking at, I don't know. Oh, here comes this asshole plane. Watch, he's gonna... He's quiet as a damper. There's an airport right over there. Just like, not a real airport, but it's almost 7 too, isn't it? It's usually a plane that goes over at 7 p.m. But it was interesting. My dad and my sister were doing wood, and it was the day after I took some photos. And of course, after I take some photos, these fuckers like to fly nice and low. And my dad was pretty amazed. He's like, whoa, you just went over twice, and he was super low right over the house. And I was like, yeah, that's what they do when you have a daughter looking in outer space. Well, listen. Sounds like there's 2 of them, but not really. Or how would that be echoing to sound like there's 2 from where I'm at right now, especially with cloud cover? And Venus started to come out over here in November. Looked like it came in, and then would go down at this angle. And last month it was popping out right about over here. And this month I can't barely even see it because it's already like behind these 3 trees. And again, since it's been kind of cloudy most nights. And then when I look at the nighttime sky, the few times I've been able to thus far, it again fits my type of model of where I don't know how it is that everything turns or shifts or what, but it literally looks like, okay, so say this is like our Earth here, and then throughout the whole month everything's fine, and whatever it is that moves us just literally, like, I feel like it just goes, and maybe every month. I've also been trying to keep track of when it is a new month, trying to keep track of the storms that we've had or the cloud cover. And sometimes it seems like you get like 2 weeks of cloudiness, and then next thing you know, when I'm able to see the stars, everything's way different. It literally just looks like things just like shifted, just turned. But then again, I wouldn't know how that would fit in any sort of type model that we've been told. Per it's cold. So these ones are kind of interesting here. I know this is supposed to be about time crystals, but this one here is pretty interesting. See that part there? It's not really in any of the other ones because I don't think I had it pushed over enough. But here, so if we were to say like, well, what are these jello-like type things that are sitting up there with no energy, supposedly? They're like jelly. They're perfectly aligned. And then I think too, okay, so what if they like to make us think, oh, the Big Bang Theory, and everything is just in complete chaos because nothing is in the alignment it's supposed to be, because no one's understanding it the way perhaps in ancient times it used to be. See, like, look here, like, those weird little dimples look like something else. And this also reminds me of a plasma field. And then if you think a while back, you can even find it on YouTube. NASA was taking high resolution photos of, I don't know if it was glycerin or if it was a type of mineral oil, or it was a type of it was a bubble but within the bubble, they were injecting like a oily type material to see how it would interact in the gravity or the no field or the gravity field, and then watching it. So you can watch that bald guy do some videos of that. But this is what it reminds me of. So if the whole, and then also too, think of this. If water's see-through, right? What if the, this is going to sound even crazy. Maybe I should just keep this to myself. But again, I don't know what it is that how I'm able to capture these. There's no tricks of any kind. I'm not using like a filter, or anything like that. But let's see here. But what if this is what the outside of our Earth or another planet looks like? I don't know. Or what if this is the static air that's up there? I'll just make sure I don't go too far. Like here, this looks like a total different mass. Like, what if that's the sun? But yeah, if you move past it or around it or something, I don't fucking know. And then here again, I was able to get this rainbow array. So this is the reflection of that. So yeah, if you wanted to take some spectroscopy. And this is where I'm coming at with this. Let me show you something here. Where is it? This book here. Leonardo's Mirror and Other Puzzles. Maybe I should fucking do a video of looking at this. So I thumb through all my books and then I ask myself, what have I seen that's similar? Or what do I see that's similar? I guess that's the question. And then when you learn art history, I guess that's maybe, I don't know, maybe that's not what a lot of people think of. Like I think of, okay, well, I think, have I ever seen anything similar to a lot of these? And then also here, the way the things align. Like, what if there's just like literally like fucking the whole thing about the genetic DNA stuff, and then we think about RNA. Oh, look at that. That looks like cell division. A cell's chromosomes, blue, are depicted and then lined up along special spindle, green. Prior to being aligned to each daughter cell, high-tech imaging requires help to bring to life the extraordinary... Okay, high-tech imaging techniques help bring to life the extraordinary chromosomal waltz underpinning life's ability to perpetuate itself. So we're talking molecular, right? Molecular, down to the tiny, tiny whatever. And then I've also asked myself, what if I'm somehow able, what if this is my aura? What if this is my cellular structure that's emanating off of me? Or I wonder, perhaps these circles that I see, what if that's a reflection of my own eyeball? Even though I'm not, like, I don't know. It makes me wonder, like, because then you see fucking shit that says, oh, we have floaters in our eyeballs. These little things that float in the, ooh, look at that guy. The air are those. So, and then these last two things here to show you what I'm talking about. Or, like, I just look at the same things over and over and then see where they are the same. But look at this here. Oh, it's over here. Well, this is kind of a good example, I guess. So these, they're kind of not quite in alignment. But if you look at these, and this was using a lens like this. But here, I mean, I don't know. And then I try to see, well, that's something on my screen. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. So this was the photo beforehand, or a couple before. These are just a few other photos that I have on my desktop. This fucking thing was on our fucking thing 2 times in 1 year. 2 times in 1 year. Ooh, and that kind of cloud there reminds me of the Cthulhu-like type cloud, but then also when you look at other ways things move around, it's kind of very similar, or in the books. Look at this, my alien face. Eyeballs. No, everybody else's eyes are fine. Little Dominic. And that was the photo before. This was after. Like, what is that? Wow, it really looks like I just, like, put those in there, but I didn't. Wow. See, I'll show you here. There's the properties. So this was 5/19/20, whatever. I don't know if it's gonna have the down to the seconds. And this was done with my phone. My phone. Date created 11. No, this was at 8 p.m. though. Now that's that one. I'm actually. I'm puzzled. I don't think I had. Okay. Like, I'm seriously feeling like this is like a mandala effect or something. That's for that one. 67 top. Let's show you this one. 827. 5, 3, 6, 7 details. Is this the same one? Well, either way, sorry to throw that in there. This video is going to be super, super long. No one's probably going to watch it, and that's okay. But here is the rest of those photos. And this is how they all started. They started like this. Here's another. This is the moon. This is the moon at nighttime. That was how the photo came out at first, and then I messed with it a little bit to bring out the whatnot. And that was how, so this is the moon. These are that reflection of that. This, I don't know what these are. These showed up as some photos a while back of the nighttime sky, and I don't know. And what started to really draw me into a lot of these weirdnesses is that I would get these like type things at nighttime. And then sometimes they come out of the fucking, what looks like the power wires. That one is, here's another one here. I don't know what this is down there. And this is just the sun. Oh, I think this might have been the day that my Aunt Bonnie passed away. That's June. That I don't know what that was either, but oh, here's my friend. That's the sun. Telescope, telescope, telescope. La, la, la. But here's the couple photos that I wanted to point out here. That I don't know what that was either. That came from way over there. I just can't get over it. Like, I don't know. I'm just blown away. There wasn't 2 photos on here like that. Like, look, there's 2 right here. That one and that one. But they're supposed to be the same photo. Why does this one, like, I don't see another one there either. I don't know. I'm kind of really confused right now. Because, see, image shortcut. But why does one of these, like, not have that weird eyeball effect? Like, and I didn't fuck with it. I don't have Photoshop on this bitch. Like, okay, so anyway, this is the other photo that I wanted to. This one here is pretty cool. I don't know what that one is, but I've seen that spirally like thing that kind of showed up there. That's another one that yeah, there's just a big black mass in the middle, but this one here. So, pretty sure these are the two of the same photos, but I just messed with it slightly, right? 041554. Oh, no, I guess not, but look at that. Like, if you wanted to say, what if there's a planet and then they have a plasma field around it, or perhaps a Dyson sphere where, I don't know. And this is, again, looking at the sun, but these are the reflections that I see. What's this property here? Where's this one taken? And this was taken with my big camera, so... And this was taken at 8:42 in the morning, last October, perhaps. Oh, these ones are wicked interesting. You get this sort of like stuff. Maybe there's a couple here that looks like it's, and then that kind of looks like our planet too outside in a way, huh? And you think, well, are there viruses floating in the air? Well, maybe. Lunar eclipse. Is that all of them? They're kind of neat. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. This other one's pretty cool.
Okay, so
this is what I called a light white hole. This is coming out of a fucking. And then look at this. So this is after the end of the summer. So I got these things all right here. Blah blah blah. And then, so this is a video of my house here, me talking about, and then by the time the sun had set, there were little tiny cobwebs all through here. And then you could see it all in the air after a heavy day of chemtrails, nice bright blue sky. And so what if you think, okay, so a radio telescope is something that records sounds, but it's done with thousands and thousands of little tiny wires of some sort. So what if, you know, this is, I don't know, example of the listening capability technology that they have. You just spread it wherever, and then you can tune it into wherever and see it all. But yeah, this is, there's, these are, okay, but last thing here, these are the last two images here before I go and listen to time crystals. So this here, this came from my what book is it? Chaos Theory, I think it's right down here. I don't think it was from this book. I don't think I ripped out a page from... This is a really interesting book, too. But I don't think I ripped it out of here. No, that's not even the same writing. See, look at that. Family of light cones in a rotating universe is shown because light cones are tilted by rotation-induced twist in space-time. Traveler A can take a trip to the future, travel around the circular path, and end up in its own past without ever going faster than light. Huh. That's very interesting. It's space warp. And then if we think of what's the helium cone, If the spinning at the Gödel rate, our universe's critical radius would be about 16 billion light years. And shortest CTL would be about, what's CTL stand for? Or CTL. Closed time like loop. Nice. Hold on. It's me in the background here. I know it's right here. Maybe it's up in my room. It might be up in my room. Oh. And this is one of my favorite books here, the telescopes. The Collapsing Universe? Is that the one I maybe took it from?
Just took it one line. So this, I'm assuming, is a...
Okay, but before I go into this, let's see here. And then I'll be done talking. And then this here is a remular field ion photo micrograph of iridium crystal, 1969, magnified, blah, 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 here enlarged, blah, 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 times actual size. But what if this is what you see when you really look up at the sun somehow? I don't know. And this is from my photography as a tool book. And then here we go. We can let you look at this, photographing the very small. But really, where's that? Let's see if it's over here. Yeah, it's probably upstairs. This one's pretty good. The StarCraft one. And it's from, this one's from fucking... Hey, look at that picture. Gallery of Commerce, it's distinguished. Bosch and Lom, huh? What is it they're really looking at, though? Okay, so anyway, this book here, we were just trying to find out what year this was made. I'm pretty sure it's super old. William Barton. Oh. 1938. Yeah. Oh, wow, by McGraw-Hill. So who even knows if this... Maybe this is when McGraw-Hill maybe used to be... right? Or maybe this could be perhaps... You could pose the question, is this where history started to become manipulated? Maybe. Okay, so... These ones are pretty cool. Oh, look, I have opened right up to Cancer. So it's Cancer. And it really talks about some really interesting stuff. A lot of these I've tried to make myself, sort of, in a way. Meteor. Oh, wow, look at that. A nice little box there. 10. If the constellation has a nebula within its outline, cut out a... If the constellation has a star cluster within its outline, make series of pinholes. Illuminated box for star charts. Huh. Which I kind of made the same thing, and that's exactly what I've been trying to make as a little fucking box. Punch size. Hammer the following size to make holes for the stars according to their magnitudes. I usually have to read a lot of things a few times. But yeah, constellations along the northern path. Yeah, I'm just going to go up and grab that other book. Because the other couple ones are... Yeah. Make sure it's not over here. Oh shit, my window's still open. Okay, hold on. This one's really cool. Where the hell is that book? Cloning, psychology for life today. Fucking Earth book, physics. Where is it? Oh, maybe it's up here. Throw my little crystals. The Rise of Cities Vision. Is it in my book bag? Dolly. This one's really interesting because how it talks about these things is really weird. They talk about them like they're really alive, like they really are. I'm not sure. I like this one here. Well, I'm a little puzzled. But okay, let's give time crystals the time it deserves. Right? It's not up there. Well, there goes that. It's chaos theory. I know that's what the book is called. Maybe it's okay. Well, that's that. I'm very puzzled. My charger anyway. Let's check out.
This episode is supported by the Great Courses Plus. What exactly are time crystals? Are they the bling inside your time turner? The flux in your flux capacitor? Are they the heart of the TARDIS? In today's edition of Spacetime Journal Club, we find out. In Spacetime Journal Club, we review new scientific papers that are making waves. We pick them apart to turn the technobabble into simple English, at least as much as is possible. Then we fight about it in the comments. This week, we're going to take a look at a recent publication by Norman Yao et al. In Physical Review Letters, entitled Discrete Time Crystals, Rigidity, Criticality, and Realizations. This paper proposed an approach to making these bizarre objects, a recipe that two other research teams have now followed and have actually synthesized these things. But first up, what on earth are time crystals? The idea was first proposed in 2012 by Nobel laureate Frank Wilczek of MIT. He suggested a type of matter that exhibits a sort of fundamental oscillation over time. So some property of the material goes through a repeating cycle.
Oscillation.
But how does that make it a time crystal? The analogy is that regular crystals have a periodic cycle through space. Molecular patterns repeat again and again along their lattices. Time crystals repeat some internal state with constant separations in time. The name time crystal is somewhat out there, but Wilczek wasn't the first to use it in reference to a regularly repeating system. That may have been Arthur Winfrey in his The Geometry of Biological Time, where it's used to describe periodic biological systems. But Wilczek was clever to apply it here, because the name made the internet go completely bonkers. And so here we are. Wilczek came up with a simple model in which charged particles in a superconducting ring break what we call continuous time translational symmetry. That's a fancy way of saying that the system looks different on a global level from one instant to the next. Normal matter, that is in what we call thermal equilibrium, only has random internal motion. In solid matter, that would be the vibrational buzz of its constituent atoms. But from one instant to the next, that buzz stays random, In regular matter in equilibrium, statistical properties stay the same over time. Wilczek's imaginary system broke this time translational symmetry because there are global statistical differences in the state of the matter. Non-random patterns change over time. Big deal. Lots of things change over time. Cups of coffee cool down, planets orbit the sun, the universe expands. But cups of coffee in the universe are not in equilibrium, and the planets are macroscopic moving objects. Wilczek proposed an actual substance that was in perpetual motion while in equilibrium. More, he imagined a substance for which oscillations were the most fundamental lowest energy or ground state. This would break time translational symmetry, which makes most physicists nervous. Well, physicists can chill. In 2015, Haruki Watanabe of UC Berkeley and Masaki Oshikawa of the University of Tokyo showed from theoretical arguments that time translational symmetry can't be broken by a quantum system in equilibrium. That sounds bad for time crystals, but that's where this new paper by Yao et al. Comes in. Their answer is to throw away this equilibrium thing. Thermal equilibrium means a closed system. No energy in, no energy out. Norman Yao, also at UC Berkeley, and his team proposed a way to make time crystals by using some sort of external input of energy to force the oscillating states. The idea goes like this. Set up a chain of ions, so electrically charged atoms. These atoms have spin values, quantum mechanical angular momenta from their electrons. Spins in nearby atoms like to line up with each other due to interacting magnetic fields. Either direct alignment or opposite alignment are both a lower energy state than random alignment. This is the same effect that results in magnetic materials. So you prepare a string of ions with aligned spins. Now cause those spins to flip back and forth using a laser. A laser is just a very well-ordered electromagnetic wave with a known period or frequency. The spin flip oscillation will be determined by the period of the laser. That laser is what takes the system out of equilibrium, because you're basically pumping in energy. Causing spins to flip in a laser isn't particularly exciting. I mean, you're basically grabbing the electrons and forcing them to oscillate. But the paper proposes that if you let go of the electrons, their spin oscillations should continue, sustained internally. That means they should resist a change in the frequency of the input laser, or continue oscillating, at least for a while, if the input EM is randomized. In addition, other researchers theorized that the spins should not oscillate at the same period as the laser, but at an integer multiple of the driving period. So 2, 3, 4, etc. spin oscillations for every EM field oscillation in the laser. Yao et al.'s work was theoretical, but it involved numerical calculations that allowed them to draw a phase diagram. This is sort of like the phase diagram of regular matter, in which you plot pressure versus temperature. Different materials become solid, liquid, gas, or plasma.
Okay. Pressure. Right now we are at a barometric pressure is at 29.15 in Hg. 12 hours ago, it was 29.15. It's rising, and it's currently at 29.30. Those are usually the numbers it's usually at. That's according to my thing there. Okay.
At different locations on that phase diagram. The analogous phase diagram for time crystals plots interaction strength between atoms versus imperfection in the spin flip driving signal. This triangle at the bottom is where time crystals live. If the variations in the forcing signal become too messy and the interaction strength is too weak, then the time crystal effectively melts into regular time-symmetric matter, in which the ion chain follows the rhythm of the driving signal perfectly, with no independent rhythm of its own. This right side of the graph is also interesting. If the connections between the spins of the ions become too strong, then a wormhole forms and sends your graduate students back to the Paleocene era. I'm kidding. At that point, thermal effects take over and the rhythm dies. Since Yao and team laid out a practical approach to building time crystals in August 2016, two teams have synthesized them in the lab, in completely different ways. Chris Munro's team at the University of Maryland followed Yao's suggestions for setting up a chain of ions, linking 10 ytterbium ions and driving them with a laser. Mikhail Lukin's Harvard team tried something completely different. They used microwaves to generate oscillations in the spins of nitrogen impurities inside a diamond. A time crystal within a space crystal.
That's like what half
Both
of our
spin systems
atmosphere is nitrogen. And the methane and the nitrogen is coming, or could be produced more rapidly by the methane from fucking the cow farming that is centralized, or I don't know if it's centralized or what, but by high concentrations of the corporate farming of animals for our fast food fucking shit. That's where a lot of this nitrogen gas could be coming from. And then if you want to think of, okay, I think nitrogen is like a green color, perhaps? I don't know, but...
Into regular time-symmetric matter, in which the ion chain follows the rhythm of the driving signal perfectly, with no independent rhythm of its own. This right side of the graph is also interesting. If the connections between the spins of the ions become too strong, then a wormhole forms and sends your graduate students back to the Paleocene era. I'm kidding. At that point, thermal effects take over and the rhythm dies. Since Yao and team laid out a practical approach to building time crystals in August 2016, two teams have synthesized them in the lab, in completely different ways. Chris Munro's team at the University of Maryland followed Yao's suggestions for setting up a chain of ions, linking 10 ytterbium ions and driving them with a laser. Mikhail Lukin's Harvard team tried something completely different. They used microwaves to generate oscillations in the spins of nitrogen impurities inside a diamond, a time crystal within a space crystal. Both spin systems developed periods that were integer multiples of the drivers. The ytterbium ions oscillations were twice the laser period.
Okay, look at those colors. And I ask myself, so when you think of models that have been used in the academic realm, right? I have also, maybe it's my art history background, but I've just also wondered, okay, so is there, just like with our chakra systems or whatever, could there be a universal language meaning for colors or something? So, right. I feel like perhaps with the microwave background, which could be induced by our fucking frequency generator fucking things, you know? Sorry, I'm swearing so much. But, so single ion magnetizations. Time. 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. What time? 7? I don't know here. Okay, let's go. Hey, where'd it go?
On long-term space missions, as water and air.
Oops. Okay.
Diamond floors 3 times the microwave period. Both resisted changes in the driving period, keeping up their own rhythms. Finally, both fit the predicted phase diagram, their time asymmetry melting when subjected to too much perturbation or too little interaction strength. So, two teams verified this result in completely different ways. That means time crystals, at least by Yao et al.'s definition of them, can exist. By the way, these two lab results have been submitted to journals, but as of the filming of this journal club, the peer review isn't complete. I should also add that while these systems do break continuous time translational symmetry, they have a different type of symmetry, discrete time symmetry. That means if you shift forwards or backwards in time in steps of exactly their period, they will return to the same state. Scientists are using the term discrete time crystals to describe such systems. Time crystals could have their first application in quantum computing. Perhaps the most popular approach to building a quantum computing memory element is to use electron spins, which can represent the ones and zeros of a classical computer in the up-down direction of the spin. One of the most serious challenges is that these quantum states are really hard to maintain. It doesn't take much random motion from heat to scramble a carefully prepared array of entangled spin alignments, completely messing up your calculation. Time crystals, with their resilient spin flip cycle, could be the next step in building stable quantum memory. Time crystals could also help bridge the gap between quantum mechanics and general relativity. Before this year, time stood out as a major symmetry that hadn't been broken. And, unlike in relativity, quantum mechanics treats space and time very differently to each other. Now that we've seen matter settle into discrete lattices in time, just like in regular crystals, perhaps it's a first step in a quantum union of space-time. Thanks to the Great Courses Plus for sponsoring this episode. The Great Courses Plus is a digital learning service that allows you to learn about a range of topics from Ivy League professors and other educators from around the world. Go to thegreatcoursesplus.com/spacetime and get access to a library of different video lectures about science, math, history, literature, or even how to cook, play chess, or become a...
I want to write that down. There's a paper. Great Courses Plus.
Photographer. New subjects, lectures, and professors are added every month. The Nature of Matter by Professor David Ball may not cover time crystals, but it does go into some amazing detail about some other weird and wonderful states of matter. With the Great Courses Plus, you can watch as many different lectures as you want, anytime, anywhere, without tests or exams. Help support the series and start your 1-month trial by clicking on the link in the description or going to thegreatcoursesplus.com/spacetime.
I wonder how much that's going to cost.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the recent spectacular discovery of 7 terrestrial and potentially habitable worlds around a nearby red dwarf star, the TRAPPIST-1 system.
So, 7 whatever, nearby red dwarf. Take the science of, I can't remember his name. David Wilcock talks about him, talking about the redshift. I don't know if that's quite together, but let's see, maybe they'll show us a picture.
Solano Felicio asks about the possibility of stable orbits when planets are so close together. Well, that's where orbital resonance comes in. The planet's orbital periods have evolved so that each pair of planets lines up at regular intervals.
What if those things aren't even visible, unless you have perhaps the right frequency, the right harmonious resonance that could be induced by sound or something? I don't know. When I do a lot of my photos and stuff like that, I do mess around with tonal frequencies. Like my favorite one there is the 396, 417, and the 523. Yeah. 396 hertz, 417 hertz, and then 528. I don't think it's 523. That is the, I guess, I don't know if it's a, however you'd put it, but a combination of these frequencies all played at the same time. That is the frequency that regenerates DNA cells, supposedly.
That actually stabilizes the orbits rather than makes them more chaotic. Some period of instability would have preceded the system finding this nice resonant configuration, and that probably drove the planets from much larger orbits to their current locations very close to the star.
Matthew Pick asks about the transit method and wonders how rare it is for a planetary system to be lined up so we actually see the transit. The answer is that, yeah, it's rare, but there are a lot of stars in the galaxy. The Kepler Space Telescope has so far discovered 2,330 confirmed exoplanets in 578 planetary systems. That's 578 stars out of the 100,000 stars that Kepler monitors. That gives you an idea of the average probability of alignment. But not all of those will have planets. Yet it's estimated that a system with an Earth-like planet orbiting a Sun-like star has around a 1% chance of transiting from our perspective. I think my favourite comment was from Warrior of Cathar, who pointed out that we basically just learned all about a solar system light years away by studying how faint shadows make other faint shadows wobble. I agree, Warrior.
What?
Damn science, you scary. Scary awesome.
Huh. Okay. Now, I'm gonna have to listen to that again. That one sounded even more fucking confusing than the other ones. So if you want to say, how do they keep us confused? Well, maybe this stuff here. But look, I just found that other book here. The one that I took that other thing to, or from. It was down here, but just hidden. It's this one here. Science of Chaos. Christopher Lampton. When was this one made? I think when this one was made in the 60s. 92? Really? Copyright 1992. Yep. So anyway, this one's a whole lot of craziness. A lot of these, I guess if I had a computer program, I could put in a lot of these things to get some graphs, maybe. I don't know. Numbers in the fast lane, distance, velocity, and time. But yeah, I think that's where I took the new science complexity applications of biomedical research, blood vessels, pictures of chaos. I don't know. That one says here, chaos is everywhere. Where's the page that I ripped this out of? Chaos in the air, when they start to talk about particulate things. Okay, for nothing would be uncertain, and the future is past, would be present in size and order. For us to predict the future, we speak not of demon, but of giant. Not of a demon, but of a giant computer. If we tell a huge computer the exact position of every subatomic particle in the universe, and program it with the equations that make the universe tick, the computer could tell us what would be happening 100 years or 1,000 or 1,000,000 billion years from now. Right? Because wouldn't it want to I don't know, what did I get here? What did I write here? Okay, I don't think there's anything else much, maybe, because this is already an hour long. My phone's about to die. But let's see here. Chaos theories have devised systems of fractal mathematics that can be used to describe fractal structures in conjunction with the computer. They can even use structures. Movie makers now use fractal techniques in computer, right? But perhaps the most astonishing byproduct of the Mandelbrot research is the fact that the Mandelbrot set mathematical structure. Oh, before I do stop this, let me just look up one more thing here. So what if this is how we really move around in the universe somehow? You know, this would be the, I don't know, if you wanted to think of well, that one's interesting. Another detail of a filament coordinates are that. Coordinates. Looking at a Mandelbrot set is looking at pure chaos. Unpredictably yet orderly, strange yet familiar, the kind of planet chaos that you can explore to your heart's content. What does Mandelbrot set have to do with chaos theory? For one thing, it is chaotic and possible to predict a point or the complex plane the Mandelbrot set, blah, blah, blah. But wait. And then this is also another good book everybody should check out. Book of Dimensions. Very, very awesome book. And you can even find it on YouTube for like, I think 2 or 3 hours read. But yeah, I read this one quite a few times. Made my own little couple of diagrams here, in here. And then these make me think of the constellations. So when we look up and we see that like type of shape, well, the next part of the dimension would be going upwards in that. Let's see here. What else is there? Is there anything else in here? But here, let's check this out real fast. Man, I love it when I have energy to fucking think. This one's really cool. Right. Okay, so hold on. So here. This is part of the historic Heston book here out of basically the story of food, but the artwork in it is really interesting. And then question everything. It's the same on the back too. So this is the sleeve that it came in. This was the actual book. And this is the cover that's on the front of it. You can see. So it's just kind of weird. It's a book about food, but oh, thank God that wasn't my foot. Thank goodness. But yeah, some of the artwork and some of the history behind. Like, this is a very interesting image. That also makes me think of how they've portrayed the cosmos sometimes. And then they have the symbols. There's Cancer. I guess I would like to compare this to something else. Oh, look, and there's like a weird helium cone-like thing. I don't know. I could go on and on and on. Cold, hot, wet, dry. So what if we somehow move around in here? Oh, look, that's an interesting shape. And then we have that one there. That one there. I don't know. Just with my lovely art history, I would just love to... I just love to break down things, I guess. I don't know. And this is, again, just all about food. See? But the they do high definition photos and then storytelling. I basically cut out a lot of the artwork here for collages and stuff. There even was an image of Salvador Dali and his lobster. This one's interesting too. It looks like the Queen. This one's talking about my Lord of Ely. When the last was hellborn, I saw good strawberries in your garden. There, I do beseech you for them. So yeah, this was Thomas Hill in the Gardener's Labyrinth of 1577. You're already capable of inspired devotion. So it's I'd have to look up the rest of the whatever. But then when you look at cellular regeneration stuff, the more conal-like things get, the more I think it was on pure, or the more cell division has happened. Look at that on the pie. That's interesting. There's 2 more cones. I just, and then I think of just, again, my art history background. It's like, what is this also saying? Or what could this say? Is there, I don't know. But I wanted to look at this here, M.C. Escher. I'll put these back. Whoop! Jeez, I'm just throwing books everywhere. This is Pink Floyd's album, Saucer Full of Secrets. And I just found this all interesting, how it all moved. Like, I don't know. And then we get that guy in the middle. That guy over here. These weird reflections. It's kind of like a zodiacal-like thing there. Playable in stereo and mono. When was this made again? This is 1968. Manufactured. Subsidiary Capital Industries, Hollywood, in Vine Street. Used to be in my car. In the back window. But it's just interesting. But here, this is what we're looking at here. And then we think of what does a Dyson sphere look like. Well, I'm pretty sure he's got a drawing one. I never noticed that. Let's see. I never noticed the star in the middle. Oh, wow, look at that. Verbum. What does that even mean? Look at this. I've never really looked at this one. Could this sort of be the same thing if you wanted to break it up? Oh, look, it's very similar. Look. Well, I just came across this image too. So it's pretty cool to look at. And then if you wanted to say, what is this great puzzle we all need to figure out? Well, again, maybe there are pieces to it everywhere. Ooh. So look here. What if we... okay, where was that other one? I think it was right around here. Brandy liqueur. This one here. Now, this one has broken itself up into 4 divisions in a way. Similarity, I have Cancer there, a crab there. I mean, that's a crayfish. I don't know if those look like the symbols for what symbol that one is. Come on. And then if we took out one of those type of, you know, when you look at somebody's thing there. Okay, where's the list of the fucking symbols? Okay, here we go. Right? Oh, it's a glyph. You're gonna make me get another book. Oh, here we go. Okay. So Cancer is a cardinal in the water. I don't know, what's that symbol? Mercury. That looks like Saturn up there. And then would it say hot, wet, cold, dry. So if we did the same thing, hot, wet, cold, dry. I don't know. That still looks like it's on dry land. Cold. It still looks like underwater. Underwater. I don't know. Let's see what verb stands for. Beginning. This is what I do for fun. I just look in my books and look into my head. Be like, This one's really interesting to me too. I wonder if I could perhaps find within these little things, could you see different type shapes? I mean, I'm aware of the hidden messages that a lot of artists hid in there. A lot of the time. I don't know. So let's see here. Verbum. What number was it? Verbum, that's what it was. Okay. Stars, flatworms, another world, 3 spheres, drawing. Verbum, puddle. number was it? 17. Alright, 17. Verbum, lithograph, 1942, 33 by 38.5. An evolution working from the center outwards, thus the opposite way round to the previous print. Okay, wait. An evolution working from the center outwards, thus the opposite way round the previous print, offers more space at the edges for fully grown figures. The central word verbum recalls the biblical story of creation. Out of a misty gray there loom a triangular primeval figures, which, by the time they reach the edges of the hexagon, have developed into birds, fishes, and frogs, each in its own element, air, water, and earth. Air, water, and earth. Where's fire? Each kind is pictured by day and night, and creatures merge into each other as they move forward along the outline of the hexagon in a clockwise direction. Okay, so if we talk about the one before, scarcely visible gray squares at the edges evolve from the contrast towards the center. Their growth is completed in the middle. An unsatisfactory feature of this kind of inward detection unfolding is that there is so little space left for the freedom of movement of the greatly developed figures. Two white and two black reptiles. So yep, these are just a couple of his thing. Let's see here. The Dyson sphere like type thingy here. And then I gotta stop it because we're going into like an hour and 11 minutes. But so this reminds me of something similar. I'm probably not going to be able to tape much longer. Here we go. On the, what's his name? Secure Team 10. He just had a video out today talking about the metallic sphere that was found in space. And then look at this. Pause for just a second.